Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at with another discussion video for Age of Mythology Retold. And this one is still centered around the Chinese pantheon. And the main question is there going to be a fourth major god? We've seen it with the Norse, with Freya. Are we going to see a nice new fourth major god for China from the developers? And if we are, what is that major god going to look like? Okay, so when researching this, there was so much that I could potentially pick from. And there's one in particular that I think would work particularly well. And I want you guys to let me know down in the comments what you think about this. But as a potential example for a fourth major god, you could have one called Xiwangmu. Now, Xiwangmu is the Queen Mother of the West. In Chinese mythology, she's a powerful and revered goddess, known as Queen of the Mother, of course. She rules over the sacred mountain of Kunlun and is associated with immortality, the afterlife, and celestial power. Legends say she controls the peaches of immortality and plays a vital role in maintaining the balance between life and death. So, specifically about that between life and death, celestial power, afterlife, we could start brainstorming, spitballing some kind of god powers and potential specific upgrades, minor gods, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into this. I'm not just going to leave you with that, don't worry. When Freya was released, there were new minor gods for each age. There was one new minor god for age 2, 3, and 4. So what I've done for you guys is I've offered up exactly the same for this potential new major god. I don't know if it's going to be this. If it was, that would be absolutely amazing. There's so many sort of mythological characters and creations in the Chinese mythology. So if it is Xiwangmu, that will be amazing. Anyway, let's get into more of the nitty gritty. So let's talk about gameplay. You're in the first stage, you're loading up the game, you're selecting Xiwangmu potentially as your fourth major god. And what would she do for you? Well, I think as a major god, she'll probably want to specialize in defense, support, some late game power. Her abilities could resolve around the concepts of healing, longevity, and celestial control. So a god power suggestion could be called Peaches of Immortality. I mentioned it at the start with that nice visual. She's got those peaches that symbolize whether she can take life away or whether she can give life, that kind of stuff. We could have something there whereby you create an area on the map, a zone on the map where friendly units gain immense healing over time. For example, it could be relatively low powered in age 1 if you use it. If you hold on to it later throughout the game, it can be a little bit like the restoration with the Greeks, but maybe you can do something whereby the units cannot die, so they're immortal for a brief period of time when they're fighting, which would be kind of interesting. So I mentioned earlier about minor gods, that when Freya was released, you got a free minor god per age. Age 2, 3, 4, we got a brand new minor god, brand new content, which was awesome. So if Xiwangmu was released, what kind of minor gods will we be looking at? What kind of myth units and all that good stuff? So let's have a look at the second age first. So potential is Chang'e, the goddess of the moon. So she would fit perfectly into the second age, focusing on protection, healing. Her myth unit, for example, we could have a myth unit here called the Jade Toad. Now, in the recent trailer for the Chinese Pantheon release, we do see a massive toad style unit hopping along that's potentially amphibious, as I mentioned in the previous video, whereby they can go onto water or land. Jade Toad could be fantastic for this. So it'd be a very slow but resilient creature that could croak mystical fog, perhaps, slowing enemy units and dealing an area of effect. It could leave like an interesting kind of slimy trail or something that might slow enemies down for a period of time. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do with that. Moving on to the next minor god option, when you're aging up from the second to the third age, what new minor god could we have here? Well, we could have Zhiyi, the goddess of the sun. She would provide powerful military boosts and offensive capabilities, bringing a lot of solar energy to Xiwangmu's followers. Her myth unit could be the Golden Crow. So a bird of intense solar energy, shooting beams of light from the skies, empowering allied units as it fights. So a little bit like the Caladria at the moment with the Atlanteans, you could have another flying unit, be very, very bright unit, a bit like the Phoenix, and just providing either aid to your own units, or also blinding enemies, or doing something like maybe scaring them off or something where they just run away. I don't know. There's many things that you could do with that myth unit. All right, and then we come on to the mythic option here, the Age 4 option. And what is it going to be? We have Xiwangmu. Now, I think I've mentioned this in a previous video when I was talking about concepts and stuff. Xiwangmu here, god of fire and war, absolute monster. So fierce and destructive deity, bringing incredible fire-based offensive to Xiwangmu's army. We could have a myth unit here. Could be the Fire Killing. And that sounds a little bit like killing, but it's Killin. Would be a terrifying fire-breathing creature with the ability to burn enemies over time and wreak havoc on the battlefield. So a kind of crazy tiger-like or dragon-like unit. Huge claws, just breathing fire everywhere. A little bit like the new myth unit that we've seen with the Norse, the Fanfear or Fanfear. Yeah, Fanfear. But the fire killing could be a potential, a little bit similar, but they'd maybe have to think about how to make that quite different as well to the Norse equivalent. But there we go, ladies and gents. Got some minor god options, some myth units perhaps that could really accompany Xiwangmu here. So then we talk a little bit about play style. Like, how is this major god going to be different to the other three? You see it with the other pantheons. You have each major god. They work in slightly different ways. They're better at certain things. Some are good at turtling, defensive. Some at being very offensive. Some are really good on water. Some are great at eco. Now, Xiwangmu, remember what I said at the start? Celestial, life, death, trying to be immortal. What could we do? Well, there could be an interesting thing here. So the god powers and myth units available could be designed for outlasting opponents. So offering bonuses to unit survivability, ensuring strong healing and defensive structures. So not necessarily too sort of high damage, but great soakers of damage. So really, really tanky units that last for a long time, so that then your normal sort of human infantry, the mortals, can actually carry on wailing at the enemy, and it can be a great distraction, can soak up a lot of damage. That could potentially be a kind of play style for Xiwangmu. So, ladies and gents, we're going to leave it there. Hopefully that's inspired you to have some conversations with your friends, with your peers. Let me know down in the comments below, of course, what you think about this, what you think about my idea of Xiwangmu. Do you think that's a good idea for a major god if they were going to install a fourth one into the Chinese pantheon? Let me know of your knowledge of Chinese mythology. Maybe there is a major god you've always wanted. Let me know down in the comments below what you think that is. Is there something that I'm missing? Am I missing a trick here? Is there maybe a minor god or something that would work a lot better? And of course, these videos are all just to get you guys talking, get you guys pumped for any new content coming out, and just enjoying the lore, the history. You say history, you know what I mean, the culture, the lore of the game, and trying to make that work in Age of Mythology Retold. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments, of course, and I'll catch you in the next video or the next stream. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.